Hello, everyone. Should you let your friends or your family read your work? Now, of course, there is no yes or no answer to this question. It depends on many different circumstances. Now, personally, my advice is ask yourself this question before you allow your friends or family to read your work, or specifically if you want them to give feedback on your work. Would they be the kind of person who, if they didn't know you, might pick up your book in a store on their own and read it? If the answer is no, if they're not the kind of person who reads at all, or if they're not the kind of person who reads your genre, then I wouldn't recommend going to them for feedback because it likely won't be very helpful. And in fact, especially if they don't read at all, they probably won't even finish your work. And so it depends on whether or not your friend or family member would be a potential member of your target audience. And now, the reason why I don't, though, specifically let my family read my work, at least not very often, is because it really depends. Like, I probably talk to my sister more about writing than anyone else, and so occasionally I'll even read a passage to her, and I'll have her then tell me how she feels about it. But I don't actually have her read my work, mainly because she has a very short attention span. She used to read quite a lot, but then ever since social media became popular, she hasn't like gotten through an entire book in years. And so I know that if I give her my book, I'm just going to keep nagging her to read it, and she'll never get back to me. So no. And then you have my father, who my father is the kind of person that he's I don't want to say that he's you know uh, I guess you could say sinister or anything like that, but he has a kind of a very he offers a lot of negative feedback when it comes to like a lot of different things, and he hardly will ever offer compliments or praise of anything when and this is when it comes to when he reviews not just when it comes to my work, but when it comes to like films, books, anything. And so I don't think it's good to have like someone, if they're like hyper negative, if they're like a hyper negative person, for them to read your work, because then they'll just be really negative about that. I'm not saying that the person has to always compliment your work, but if they're very negative, then I don't think that's the kind of influence you want to have. And then of course you have my mother, who my mother has it on several occasions tried to read my work, and I definitely credit her for that. And she has read several of my early books, but recently she tried to read Symphony of Perdition and she quit because she said it was over her head. But I give her credit for trying. But my that's why my family doesn't really read my work very often. Now, if they asked to read it, I might let them read some, not for feedback purposes, but they hardly even really even ask to read my work. No, it really depends on whether or not you should ask yourself two questions: is your family member or friend a target audience member? And two, um, are they the kind of person that you think would understand your work, or are they the kind of person that you think would either dismiss it or not understand it? So those are the questions you need to ask.